AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You, sir. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Sean Salisbury in 1 hour. I do want to talk in about 15 minutes or so about Frank Wilson, who at his press conference today via Zoom to open up LSU's Texas Bowl preparation did discuss his future. So let's hear Frank on his future coming up here in about 15 minutes from right now. Chris Marler is with us, SEC writer over at LouisianaSports.net. I've never had anyone more awkward in studio. Especially considering someone who's actually done a lot of media.
Yeah.
You doing okay? Headphones?
I think it's the chair. The
sitting in a chair?
really throwing me off.
Sitting in a chair is throwing you off?
Because my feet aren't touching the ground. I feel like Kevin Hart.
I mean, you can't just put your feet on the... I mean, there's a footrest. Do you not reach?
Let's move on.
So real talk?
Oh, no.
No, for real. Like here?
There's a footrest?
No, I have a metal chair over here that I put my feet on.
Oh, that's cool.
That's what I did.
You gave me nothing
intentionally.
Just the abyss.
Let me ask you a question. How many times on my solo show is someone sitting over there? Right.
I feel like you gave that away. Context clues.
Yeah, got it.
Up on it. None.
You have a column that you wrote about the committee and the field as it is, the field of 12. Give me your overall thoughts on the field of 12. You can go read it at Louisiana Sports.net if you want. The field of 12 as the committee put it out.
I mean, I was shocked that Notre Dame did not make it. Like just very, very surprised. Not saying they should or should not be in. I thought they should be in. I understand the argument against them with Miami. I was shocked that Bama didn't move down. That seemed to be the biggest argument for like 6 straight weeks. And it was nonstop each and every week with them and then BYU and a little bit with Vanderbilt and Texas as well. But I thought the team that had the biggest gripe out of anybody that was valid was Georgia. I mean, but what we keep talking about playing these conference championship games, and you shouldn't be penalized if you lose, like Bama wasn't. But if you won the conference championship in the SEC and you don't move up at all, that was shocking to me.
I guess the whole thing with Georgia is, does it really matter if you're 1 through 4?
The 3 seed actually is a pretty good path. No, like for this specific playoff.
Oh, I just mean in general. Like if you just want the bye, right? Is it? I think in terms of like the NCAA tournament, March Madness. I mean, having the 1 next to your name is good, but if you're 2, does it really matter? If you're 3, I mean, does it really? I mean, eventually you're going to play good teams along the way, and you're going to have favorable matchups the first couple of rounds, sort of thing. As long as you have a bye, right? That's
right.
Do you think it matters?
I mean, if I can get anywhere close to the bracket where the G6 school, or I guess 2 of them this year, Tulane and James Madison, I would have much more prefer that. But also, it's kind of a loaded field. Even with those 2 in there, that's why I was hoping they would have done something and only put 1 in, because you would have kept Notre Dame in, and it would have been a lot of blue bloods. It would have been a lot of really good brands and a lot of good teams.
What would your 12 have looked like?
Oh, that's tough. Indiana number 1, Georgia 2, Ohio State 3, Texas Tech 4, 5. I would have probably had Ole Miss, 6 Oregon, 7 Texas A&M, 8 Oklahoma, 9 probably Notre Dame, 10 Bama. 11 Texas, and then actually taking it away from them just to piss them off. That would have been a lot of fun.
Were you going to put him in and then taking him out?
I would have loved to see Vandy get like any sort of love in there, but I don't think they really deserve
Why didn't they?
No idea. They didn't really have a quality win. There wasn't a great win. It was Mizzou.
We had that convo with Russ every week here on Wednesdays. I mean, they were right there among the 10 and 2s, but nobody gave Vanderbilt any sort of opportunity to be in this conversation. Yet there's Miami and Notre Dame.
Yeah. I mean, like, those are probably similar resumes. I think the strength of schedule was better for Vandy, but they didn't have a quality win besides Mizzou.
Why would you have had Notre Dame in? You said 9. You would have had them at 9. Why would you have had them in?
Well, they were really good in this final 10 games, as their AD said today. It was one of the most dominant stretches in the history of college football, which is...
Bro, the history of college football.
There's so much history. They should know that.
That's a really bad statement.
You know, there's also like one Notre Dame like historian fan that's like real pissed about like not respecting the 1919 team that just
that Frank Leahy squad that was great in like 46.
Beat Ace Hardware by like 52 that year. It was awesome. I think they are really talented. They're really good. They were blowing folks out for most of the season. But the resume was not as good as any of the other 3 teams they were grouped with. So I expected them to at least go down. I did not think they were going to get out. Also, you didn't watch the shows, but the reason they gave...
This is why I don't watch the shows.
It was comical. It was like, well, we can't really compare Miami and Notre Dame side by side. And they said, why? He said, because they're not side by side. They're 2 spots apart. Can't wrap our heads around it.
You do realize that that's why for 5 years I've not watched the show.
Yeah.
Because ultimately what this committee does is whatever they want,
right,
and then they explain it with no consideration of what they said before.
Yeah.
And when they get to the last ranking, they'll do whatever they want with no consideration of what was said before. So there's no point. It's not being like obstinate. It's just there's no point in watching any of the. It's a TV show.
Right.
That's all it is.
It's a reality show.
That's all it is. It's just it's a TV show on Tuesdays to fill inventory and to create conversation, which they do a good job of that. But if you're trying to extract some value from the rankings that they put out, there is none. I mean, it's shown over and over again. This goes back to the first year. In 2014, they had TCU number 2 in the penultimate rankings and then moved them completely out of the field.
Right.
Like, it makes no sense. It's never made sense.
2023 Georgia was egregious. I mean, that was like, it's a 14 playoff, so and there's a lot of like really good teams that had really good records that year. But man, 29 straight wins. They hadn't lost in the regular season in like 3 years. They lose by 3 and they drop to 6. That's awful.
Back-to-back national champs. They're undefeated. They lose the conference championship game. They're out of the playoff. I always try to look at it, and that was my conversation about this year's Bama team. And I said it yesterday on the show. There's nobody in the world that would have stood to benefit more from Bama being left out than me.
Oh, yeah.
There's not a human alive.
I was shocked.
Can you imagine Can you imagine what this show would have been on Monday with like Lane Kiffin, Bama losing badly out of the playoff? My God, it would have been euphoric here. Yeah. I mean, Bama fans would have found my address. But anyway.
I would have given it to them.
I would have punched you in the face and then fired you.
I thought that video was AI. I'm not making a joke. I honestly thought it was AI.
No, it's real. Because I always look at it from the standpoint of, all right, if that's me, what would I be saying about my team?
Right.
And the reality is, if that was LSU and they were left out, we'd be ready to riot.
Yeah.
It's just true. So I can look at it that way. Okay, so the column that's up today over at LouisianaSports.net, if you want to read it, and Chris Marler's with us. It's Vern something on Twitter. He's had like 10 accounts, and he keeps losing them because he's inappropriate on Twitter. What is it now?
Vern Funquist. But there's an underscore.
Yes.
Vern underscore Funquist.
You have to have the underscore. That's the point. Like, you're Vern Funquist and Dumbquist and underscores, and you keep losing accounts.
Yeah. I haven't lost one in like a year and a half.
Good job.
Since I started working here.
Good job.
No big deal.
Wonder why that's happened.
Because you scare me a lot? Yeah.
Probably a good reason. Vern underscore Funquist, which is actually really clever. Okay, college football playoff is broken. How to fix it? I want everybody to go read this so we get clicks at LouisianaSports.net to justify Marler's salary. Give me the Cliff Notes. So how do you fix it?
I mean, honestly, I think that you have kind of sabotaged yourself by adding the G6 schools, like because you're trying to be like inclusive with more teams. I think that basically they got enamored with the idea that every 12 versus 5 matchup in every couple of years was going to be Boise State, Oklahoma. I just let the G6 schools have their own playoff. And then, because no matter how many teams you go to, you can go to 14, and as soon as you get to 14, whoever's at 15 and 16 is going to start complaining about that. It's never going to stop. I think you got to go back to the BCS or computers. You cannot have, not even for the fact that I would worry about like inherent bias or like somebody's opinion about a team in their own conference because of the ADs that are involved, but more so because I don't want to hear fans make excuses that's what's happening when the rankings come out.
I don't really care about fans. I agree with you. You need to get rid of the committee, but it's because going into a season, you should know what the standard is.
Right.
Like, there shouldn't be some arbitrary committee subjectively deciding things at the end.
Different every year. Different every single year.
And that makes it very hard to schedule. It makes it hard to know what to do. Like, do you need to blow teams out? Do you need style points? You know, like all that. So we agree there. The issue with the G6, and I am a self-described college football elitist. Mm. I very much endorse the G6 having programs. I just don't want Power 4 programs playing them to fund their programs because I don't ever want to see a power. You were in Tiger Stadium for the Western Kentucky game.
Oh my God!
There is not a human soul that wants to see that game.
No, I came for the mascot.
Awful. Yeah, no doubt. Awful. Like, give me real games that people want to see. Let the G6 go have their own play, but they'll never do it, Marler, because of the money.
Right.
It is more lucrative for them to get the crumbs from the table of the college football playoff than to have their own playoff, which will not be nearly as lucrative, which is why we have this charade, whatever this nonsense is.
Way more entertaining. Way more entertaining. Like we would have 3 every year. FCS, G5, and then the Power 4. But I think it's what sucks is because you were at 4. Remember they did all that research on the numbers. It was like, well, the semifinal games are blowouts more often than not. They're like the winner is usually winning by like 19 points per game. So we need to have it more competitive. And instead of just going to like 6 or 8, like a normal transition, it was 12 right off the bat. Yeah. Right off the bat.
Who's going to win the national championship?
I kind of think it's going to be Indiana. I got to delete a lot of tweets if that's the case.
I'm here for that so much. Are they going to fire Kalen DeBose whenever he loses?
So I asked you this yesterday. What do they have to do in this playoff to like feel like they had a successful season?
You asked me this?
I think so.
No, you didn't.
In my head, I did.
You did not ask me this question.
I'm asking now. It's like for
That's
Bama,
not how this works. It's my show. I ask the questions. You're the guest. You answer.
Okay. What was the question again? Who are they going to fire?
Chris Marler, everybody at Vern _
Nailed it.
They're not going to fire him?
No, they're not going to fire him. Who are they going to hire?
Good. I'm so glad. Another 4-loss season next year is going to be awesome.
Who would they go hire at this point?
I don't care. Someone else that'll lose 4 games a year, and I'll just keep laughing at all the Bama people.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they have fallen off a cliff at the end of the season.
I know, it's so good, right?
That's so bad.
I mean, they had -3 rushing yards in that game. Dude, I was Googling the last time Alabama was shut out. It was the Iron Bowl. 25 years ago. It was so close.
It was 33 degrees, and it poured rain the entire time.
So good.
Terrible.
Yeah. You sound like you were there.
I was there. That was not a very fun day. I will tell you this. We left Atlanta on a Sunday morning, and I get in the elevator. My buddies are wearing, like, Bama stuff, and there's a couple of Georgia fans in there. We're just kind of, like, laughing about, like, great game, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it gets quiet for a second. The guy just goes, you guys realize that all 7 of us in this elevator had more rushing yards than Alabama yesterday?
So good. That happened. Man, I've wanted to do Bama burning so bad yesterday. We couldn't do it with them in the playoff.
You can. That's not going to stop you.
Oh, see, the best part about them making the playoff is they're not winning a national championship, so they're going to lose. And so when they lose, they'll have another 4-loss season, which is awesome and even better. So they'll have back-to-back 4-loss seasons, which hasn't happened since 06-07.
Yeah.
And then next year they're going to lose 4 again. Because if they had gone to some crappy bowl game and somehow managed to win it, then they'd be like 10-3, and they'd be like, 10-win season for Kalen DeBose, whatever. But now when they lose and they'll be 9-4, I'll be like, haha, idiots, you lost 4 again.
That's a weird feeling going into a playoff and having 0% confidence that team is able to win a national championship.
Yeah, because they stink.
Yeah.
He's Chris Marler, Vern _Funquist. Read his stuff at louisianasports.net or else. All right, thank you. By the way, vests are better when you have a long sleeve shirt under the vest.
I got so much to learn.
It's like long sleeve and then a
Feet
vest.
are asleep over here in this chair.
They're just dangling over there.
Day.
Yeah. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. Yep, you're going to walk right in front of a camera, aren't you? Yep, just stay right there. Firstsouthland.com. Thinking of buying land. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Mincy did that. Ben Mintz just literally just stopped right there. I mean, just standing right in front. His back was just right in front of the camera during a live read. If you need to buy land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Not just land in Louisiana. Let's say you want to buy land in Mississippi for that hunting camp, or Texas, or Alabama. I don't know why you'd want to live there, but if you did, you could, and you could buy land there, and First South Farm Credit can help because they can help you buy land in any of the lower 48. So you want to buy a big old dude ranch in Montana, 500 acres, maybe more acres for a dude ranch, I don't know. First South Farm Credit can help. But start at the website, firstsouthland.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She likes the way it's pulling while we're tilling up a land. She's even kind of crazy about my farmer's town.
Wanted to make sure that I was connected to the story of it. I got to be honest, I got a little emotionally involved in the game, at times, and something I try to, remind our players is hey, watch these games. Let's try not to get too, emotionally connected. But how can you not? It impacts all of us in this division, and certainly it impacts us going into this week with another division opponent.
Dave Canales was obviously watching the Saints-Bucks with a keen eye with the Bucks lost. Now the Panthers and the Bucks are tied atop the NFC South. Saints host the Panthers this weekend at the Superdome. Of course, the Saints beat Carolina Panthers back in Charlotte earlier this year. It was Tyler Shuck's first win. So what does he do for an encore? We'll find out this weekend. A couple of notes. The Saints will stick, by the way, with Charlie Smith after missing his the first field goal attempt. It was his first miss, I should say, this past weekend, the 48-yarder that he missed in the first half, which was disappointing. But they're going to stick with him, give him his third opportunity here. If he wavers again, we could see Cade York. That's something notable. It's also interesting coming out of the Bucks game. We always like to look at the Pro Football Focus grade, something we do a lot with the LSU games coming out of the weekends, but with the Saints as well. And Ross Jackson has a big write-up at LouisianaSports.net, similar to what Hunt does for the LSU games, breaking down the PFF grades. And I think sometimes you can always derive a few things from PFF. For New Orleans, the top 5 graded players overall, Pete Werner, Juwan Johnson, Tyler Shuck, Alontae Taylor, of course, had an interception. But maybe the most encouraging one was Kelvin Banks, who had a 79.9 grade. And I think the most interesting part of Banks' grade was how well he did in the run game. And, of course, the 34-yard touchdown run for Tyler Shuck was around the left side with Banks leading the way. And some of those design runs were to the left side behind Banks. So that's one of the things that, as we've talked about, a big athletic franchise left tackle, we think so much about pass protection. But when you can, typically the left side of your line is your better pass blockers, the right side of your line are your better run blockers. But this is one of those instances where you have a really good run blocking left tackle as well there with Banks. The other thing that stands out when you look at the bottom 5, your 5 lowest graded players, the lowest graded player on the entire team was Taysom Hill with a 26.9 grade. Jonah Williams, Jonathan Bullard, Cesar Ruiz, and Quincy Riley. And Ruiz, he's just permanently entrenched in these bottom rankings because he's, as we've talked about, one of the worst in the NFL at his position. He's one of the worst starters in his position. He was the lowest graded run blocker on the team. Had a nice day in pass protection, but he did allow a pressure and a hurry. And he did have the intentional man downfield penalty on the 4th down play where the Saints looked like they had converted, but it was negated as a result. Quincy Riley, his day could have been even worse. Look, Emeka Ibuka dusted Quincy Riley and on the slant. And it was just a drop. It could have been a better ball by Baker, but that's a throw that would have given Tampa a late lead in the ball game had Ibuka been able to catch it. But Riley caught a break there, but still one of your lowest graded players defensively. And it's one of the things that we keep looking for are the young guys making progress that you can build around. And Riley is one of those getting an opportunity now at cornerback opposite Kool-Aid McKinstry. So, we will we'll obviously keep a close eye in the final 4 games of the season on how some of these young guys continue to progress. But a nice day for Banks at left tackle, not so much for Riley at cornerback. And as it continues throughout the season, we'll keep an eye on those. But another obviously great day for Tyler Shuck as well. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Evamore, EVAMOR, Evamore.com, Evamore.com. Drink Evamore. We always have a bottle of Evamore here on set with me. I drink 2 the 64-ounce bottles every single day, especially during this time of year. You got to stay hydrated, y'all. It is so important that you stay hydrated. And when it's cold outside, we don't maybe have that insatiable thirst. And so because you're not thirsty, you forget to drink water. But it's so important. And the source matters as well. And Evamore is natural artesian water. You want a natural product from these ancient underground aquifers, Mother Nature's masterpiece, as they call it, and it's delicious. Drink Evamore. And it's a Louisiana product. Evamore, EVAMOR, Evamore.com, Evamore.com. We are... in just a few minutes, I do want to talk about Frank Wilson, who, for the first time, talked about his future from his own voice, his future in Baton Rouge with the LSU Tigers. We'll get to that in just a quick second. But the other thing that is now official are the Heisman finalists. And I don't know that it's any great surprise here. We know the Heisman finalists were going to be the 2 Big Ten quarterbacks, with Mendoza and Julian Sayin and Diego Pavia and Julian Love. Those are the 4 finalists now for the Heisman Trophy. The thing that I was kind of hoping to see, well, first of all, I don't know. You want to invite Jeremiah Love, fine. I mean, there's no set number of finalists that they have to invite. Typically, they look at the voting, and where there's a gigantic drop-off is where they cut the line. My guess is when we see these votes, you're going to have a gigantic drop-off after the 3 quarterbacks to Jeremiah Love, who's going to finish 4th in this thing, and Fernando Mendoza is going to win it. But I would have loved to have seen Diego Pavia win the Heisman. But an Indiana quarterback does offer a degree of inclusion at the table of college football, which I'm here for. I mean, I love the fact that it's not the same 5 teams every year that actually have a chance to win or win a Heisman or win the national championship. And that's what the new era of transfer portal, NIL, rev share, playoff has done. It's brought the ceiling down and in some cases raised the floor, compressing everybody closer to the middle. So you've got more teams. Yeah, I mean, your Ohio States and Georgias are still there, but you can see the Indiana and Vanderbilt quarterbacks in New York as Heisman finalists, which is incredible. Diego Pavia was a guest on The Pivot, and with RC and the guys, talked about what it would mean to win the Heisman.
Dude, that would mean I can't even put it into words how much that means. I still remember Johnny winning it, and I used to watch Johnny's tape. I could tell you front to back what it has, and it has Johnny's when he accepts the award, and it was just like, dude, I want that to be me one day. That's what I was thinking, I want that to be me one day. And now it's coming full circle, and it's like just to have an opportunity at it. I think that's a big blessing, but I'm super excited for it, and I can't wait.
Pavia with just under 3,200 passing yards and 27 passing touchdowns. Fernando Mendoza is going to win it with 2,980 passing yards and 33 touchdowns. For context, Joe Burrow threw for over 5,000 yards and 60 touchdowns in his Heisman winning season. Somebody's got to win it, and Mendoza wasn't awesome, but his team won the 1 versus 2 matchup, 13-10, and he made the plays late. And as a result, he's going to win it. He's a overwhelming betting favorite now to win the Heisman Trophy. So we'll get that announcement on Saturday. By the way, today, December the 9th, incidentally, is the anniversary of 2 of LSU's Heisman winners. The late Dr. Billy Cannon won the Heisman Trophy on December the 9th in 1959. And Jaden Daniels, just a couple of years ago, won the Heisman Trophy on December the 9th, 2023. So we were in New York that day. It was an amazing it was an amazing opportunity to be there to cover that event, all the history surrounding the Heisman Trophy and everything. To see an LSU player win, it was awesome. So there'll be more history this weekend in New York City. So it'll be Fernando Mendoza, who right now, as we look at it, is just a I'm trying to pull up the odds right now as they sit, but he's an overwhelming betting favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. If you give me one quick second, I'll have it. But I thought I had it. I can't find it. Anyway, it's overwhelming for Fernando Mendoza. He's going to win it. By this point, you know how the odds are going to go, who's going to win it. So Mendoza will win it on Saturday, but it's great honor and opportunity for all those guys to get up to New York and be part of the Heisman finalist ceremony. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock on a quick break. We'll come back. When we get back, I do want to talk a little bit about Frank Wilson, his comments about his future at LSU. You'll hear him next on AFR.
AFR.
REV. Let's Rev. Let'sRev.com. 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 REV. 90 years of local service. Lightning fast internet speeds. When you call Rev, you get local people at a local office to talk to. You're not ushered off to some call center in a foreign country. Rev is local where they've been for 90 years. Also, some of the other benefits of switching to Rev, You get faster, more reliable internet. You get speeds up to 5 gigs. The Wi-Fi equipment is included at no additional cost. There are no long-term contract required. Interested yet? There's no unexpected price increases after your promotional period ends. The price is the price. And there's no data caps or hidden bandwidth overage charges. And it's 100% local service and support. You're never routed to an overseas call center. So what are you waiting for? Let's Rev. Let'sRev.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
As always, appreciate Sunshine. Make sure you check out sunequip.com. Bunky and below, you want a Deere, you're going to Sunshine. Sunequip.com, sunequip.com. Frank Wilson met with reporters on via Zoom on Tuesday for the Texas Bowl press conference. As the team will begin work for Houston. They have a team meeting here on Tuesday. They'll hit the practice field on Thursday. And amid all of this, Frank Wilson's future is very much up in the air. Frank was asked for clarity on his future and whether or not he expects to be back as a part of Lane Kiffin's staff.
No, we've had conversations, and for me and for Coach Kiff, it's let's play this game on the 27th, and we'll go into those details later. We just want to finish what we've started with this football team, with the team of 2025, give them our undivided attention before transition happens. And so until then, nothing will necessarily happen in that regard. There'll be opportunity there. Where that lies, I'm not sure, but the priority is our current football team.
I want you to contrast the reaction with Frank Wilson and Blake Baker. LSU went to the end of the earth to try to retain Blake Baker. They're going to pay him $3 million a year. Lane Kiffin is on Friday night tweeting about staying in Baton Rouge for meetings to make sure Blake Baker stayed. You're retaining that staff. It was a complete and total priority to retain Blake Baker. And I'm not saying it shouldn't have been, by the way. He's taking your defense from statistically the worst defense that you had in 2023 to 25th in total defense, 15th in scoring defense in 2 years. Yes, that should have been a priority. But when you contrast how they approached retaining Baker and where things are with Frank and how he answered that question right there, so non-committal, it kind of tells you the answer without telling you the answer. Every time we talk about this, and I have a feeling it's going to come up again before LSU plays the bowl game and we know what the finality is, I just want to be on the record just abundantly clear. I want Frank Wilson on LSU staff. I want Frank Wilson to be LSU's running backs coach and recruiting coordinator. I think that's what's best for LSU. Now, Lane Kiffin ain't going to ask my opinion. That's okay. It's his prerogative. He's the head coach. He can hire who he wants. And it is very clear that if Lane Kiffin was prioritizing having Frank Wilson on staff in that role, it would already be done. He's there. He's in the building. He's coaching the team. He's the recruiting coordinator. If you wanted him, hire him. He's there. Just say you're retained. The fact that that hasn't happened tells you the story. And it's the thing we've talked about a bit here already, which is Lane Kiffin's running back coach is Kevin Smith, who played at UCF, played in the NFL with the Lions, joined Kiffin's staff at FAU, was with him for 3 years there, 6 years in Oxford. They've been together for 9 years. When Lane Kiffin was introduced last Monday, Knox was in the front row. The kid sitting next to Knox was Kevin Smith's son. Their families are very close. That's his running backs coach. He wants him on staff. And he's holding a spot for him. It's very obvious. And it's his prerogative. And he can do that. I hope, I'll say it again, that this isn't a lesson that Lane Kiffin has to learn the hard way. Because you have got to have deeply rooted connections on this staff in New Orleans. And there is nobody better than Frank Wilson. The New Orleans area high school coaches are a fraternity that are close-knit, and we've seen that over the years. When Frank left, Les hired Jabbar Jalouk. Ed got the job in 2017. He fired Jabbar. It was a big dust-up among the New Orleans area coaches when Jabbar Jalouk was fired after 1 year. It took some mending of fences there. There are those that are going to argue, and you're right, that LSU won a national championship in 2003, in 2007, and 2019 without Frank Wilson on staff. That's true. He was on staff in 2011 when they played for a national title. Should have won it. And he has been responsible for recruiting some of the best players in the history of this program to LSU. But they've won without him. And I have no doubt that LSU can and will win if Frank Wilson's not on staff. I'm not saying this is a binary thing. If he's here, you'll win. If he's not, you won't. I'm not suggesting that at all. What I am saying is there is a direct correlation to the most successful teams in the history of this program having a direct pipeline to New Orleans and how essential it is to recruit the state, in particular that city. I mean, my goodness, Edna Carr had 15 Division I signees on this team. Like, say that slowly and think out loud. Like, Edna Carr had 15 Division I signees on this team. You got to recruit New Orleans. And there's nobody better to do that than Frank. So, look, if he's not retained, they'll have to figure it out. I know I've spelled this out for you again, but for those who are saying, why can't he coach special teams or give him the run game coordinator title or something along those lines, it's not about creating a title. Remember, staffs are limited to 10 full-time assistants. And those 10 full-time assistants are the only ones that can go recruit off campus. Analysts can coach on the field now. So it's not about that. It's about being one of the 10 full-time assistants that are paid like full-time assistants and can recruit off campus, which of course you want Frank to be able to do. And you've got your 5 defensive assistants already, and you've got 4 offensive assistants already. So you have 1 spot left on your offensive staff. And it's very clear Lane Kiffin's holding that for Kevin Smith if he comes after Ole Miss's playoff run. If he doesn't and he stays in Oxford, which I'm hoping is what happens. I hope Kevin Smith stays in Oxford. I don't know that I believe that's going to happen. If you made me bet, I'd bet he comes. I don't have any information. I'm not breaking news. I don't know. I'm looking at circumstantial evidence, which is pretty clear to me and probably to a lot of us here at this point. And you can listen to Frank Wilson and the uncertainty today and kind of tells you the story. Because if you wanted to hire him, he'd already be hired. So I hope Kevin Smith stays in Oxford and Lane retains Frank Wilson. I don't necessarily believe that's how this is going to go, but we'll find out in time. But if that is what happens, if the Texas Bowl is the last game that Frank Wilson coaches at LSU, and then Kevin Smith comes in to be LSU's running backs coach, then Lane Kiffin's going to have work to do to make sure he solidifies the relationships in New Orleans with someone or multiple people on staff in whatever variety of roles to make sure those relationships remain firm. Because, well, it doesn't have to be Frank Wilson. You have to put a fence around New Orleans and make sure the best players in that city end up in Baton Rouge. So making sure that connection is solid is one of the most important things Lane Kiffin will do in recruiting and building staff and roster at LSU. So I hope it's Frank Wilson, but if it's not, Lane Kiffin's going to have a big decision to make with how he makes sure that pipeline remains flowing. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. A great meeting over today at Parrish Construction and Roofing. Of course, I'm a partner over there with Richard Tilley and Ryan Terrio and Joe and our whole staff. We always do our Tuesday marketing meeting. We just wrapped up our 12 Days of Christmas giveaway. Really incredible. Not something we did, not something we did to try to generate leads or anything. It was just a great opportunity, and I'm not even saying it necessarily from the Parrish perspective. It's more because we had great partners that teamed with us. Duplessis Builders, Ruckus, Chris's Specialty Foods, to put together great packages to bless 12 families in our area, which was, we got to do that last week, and it was so rewarding to do. But we love being community partners, and we'd love to help you out. Hey, look, we had tons of rain this weekend. If you had rain and you noticed, you had water spots on your ceiling, you had leaks, we'd love to help you out. Repairs, replacements, commercial, residential. We even do soft wash. We do gutters. We do it all. It's Parrish Construction and Roofing. Go to parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. Just fill out the form on the homepage there at parrishbuilt.com and do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing, parrishbuilt.com. All right, y'all, it is after further review. We're going to knock out our final break here of hour number 2. We'll come back. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros. Sean Salisbury's here in 17 minutes from right now. Thanks for hanging out on a Tuesday edition of AFR. Powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
AFR.
Christmas is upon us, and it is not too late to go get your Christmas tree. And if you're going to get your Christmas tree, make sure you go to Clegg's. I was talking to Miss Teresa yesterday. They still have an amazing selection of Christmas trees. You want to add that little spruce of Christmas spirit to your home, to your office, go pick up your Christmas tree at Clegg's. Also, an amazing selection of poinsettias over at any of the 4 Clegg's nursery locations, and they're grown here locally in their greenhouses, and so shipments arrive almost daily. So you don't have to worry about the selection being picked over. They've got an awesome selection with new arrivals and new shipments arriving almost daily at all 4 locations. Siegen Air Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, Garden Center on Greenwell Springs, and if you've already decorated and now you're doing your shopping, a Clegg's gift card is a great gift for the green thumb on your list. So buy local, shop local, and tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Climb up in the loft, set and talk with the radio.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Glad you're with us. Sean Salisbury will be here in about a dozen minutes from right now. We're looking forward to that conversation. Get his take on Tyler Shuck, that development. A little bit as well about Lane Kiffin. Now, we missed Sean last week, so we didn't get his reaction to Lane being the LSU coach. Sean's known Lane Kiffin since Lane was, I think, in high school. So we'll get Sean's take on that as well, what we can expect. So ton to do, and glad to have you hanging out with us here. Again, Sean Salisbury, in about a dozen minutes from right now. Right now, Muse, Tigers and the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, we'll start with Monday Night Football. A crazy game that turned out to be between the Chargers and the Eagles. Dante Jackson factored into it for L.A. Got his 4th interception of the year on Monday night to go along with the tackle and 3 passes defense. The 4 interceptions has Dante Jackson sitting at number 6 in the entire NFL in that category. So a very, very productive year for the former Tiger. We now have an update on Jaden Daniels and the re-injury of his left elbow. That, of course, happened in the 3rd quarter on Sunday. Dan Quinn meeting with the media on Monday evening. said there's not an update in terms of if he can play this week. They'll continue to monitor that, but he was evaluated Monday in the building by the staff, and there is no permanent or long-term damage there. Again, it's just really sore. He kind of landed straight on it, Quinn said, but it didn't further the injury in terms of long-term concern. So perhaps you'll see Jaden Daniels back out on the field this Sunday for the Washington Commanders. We'll keep you updated there. An update to the NBA on Cam Thomas, Brooklyn Nets guard. He's been out since sustaining a left hamstring strain. That was back on November 5th. He was reevaluated late last week, showed healing of the hamstring, did an MRI. He has begun on-court work and will be updated in approximately 2 more weeks, looking for a late December return, potentially for Cam Thomas. That obviously would be pivotal for the Nets. He was supposed to be their scorer, as we know Cam Thomas can be. And then Naz Reid a night ago for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Tough 3-point loss for them. But Naz was on the floor for 30 minutes in the ballgame. Grabbed 9 rebounds. Great total there. Struggled a little bit from the floor. Just 2 of 12, but both of them were threes. So he did total up 6 points in the loss. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics. When Baton Rouge calls, champions answer. And as Coach Kiffin takes the helm, energy is building, the excitement's in the air. But next season's work starts now and behind the scenes every day, on and off the field. As championship health partners, LSU and FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake providers, are in the huddle, keeping students and teams healthy, supporting campus life, preparing everyone for what's ahead. From checkups to training to day-to-day care, the focus is on giving their best when it matters most. As Coach Kiffin settles in and our city welcomes him and his family, one thing is clear. The next play starts now, and Louisiana is ready. FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake, and LSU, championship health partners. Learn more at ololrmc.com/LSU, ololrmc.com/LSU. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together we roar. This is one interesting thing that we got to follow in the coming days. Notre Dame, of course, was left out of the college football playoff. That's not really the story anymore. It happened, whatever. But their head coach, Marcus Freeman, is now the betting favorite to be the new head coach of the New York Giants. And by the way, this isn't just like a small thing. He has minus 200 odds to be the next head coach. The next closest is Mike McCarthy at 5-1, which is plus 500. Meaning Marcus Freeman is an overwhelming favorite to be the next head coach of the Giants. Now, I know we just went through this with the LSU saga, which stretched out for 6 weeks. And there was a variety of different coaches that led the odds at different points throughout that search. At one point, Nick Saban was the betting favorite. Kenny Dillingham was the betting favorite. Joe Brady was the betting favorite at one point. But as it got closer to the end, Lane Kiffin became the betting favorite, and then those odds continued to shorten. Like, it was pretty obvious he was the guy. And, man, it's not so much seeing Freeman on the list, but at the top of the list, and so overwhelming at the top of the list, is a little jarring. Maybe it's just that I'm removed and distant from, like, I don't cover Notre Dame. I don't really care. But that is a premier job in college football that, you know, in a cycle where LSU came open and Florida came open, and you had a handful of SEC jobs along with Penn State. I mean, Notre Dame here would be very late to the party if, in fact, Freeman does leave and go become the head coach of the Giants. I have no idea what direction they would go if he does leave, but that would certainly kickstart another spin of the coaching carousel, because obviously Notre Dame would have to hire somebody, and I would assume they would hire someone away from another school. Now, they could promote internally like they did with Marcus Freeman. Brian Kelly left, they elevated Marcus Freeman. Like, could Mike Denbrock be a possibility? I'm spitballing here. I don't know that, but you know, Denbrock's now in his second stint with Notre Dame. He's beloved by players. He's a great offensive mind, as we've seen. Maybe that's a possibility there. But if it's not, then does Notre Dame go hire a sitting head coach elsewhere and kickstart a new spin of the coaching carousel? This is one worth watching here in the coming days, as you still have a month remaining in the NFL season, at which time you'd assume the Giants would hire their next head coach when the NFL season ends. But something worth watching here as this develops. Marcus Freeman, the betting favorite to be the next head coach of the New York Football Giants. So we'll keep an eye. All right, it's After Further Review. Tuesday shows powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Remember, if you're shopping, they got great gifts for the kiddos, toy tractors, and the riding tractors as well. I kind of like the little Power Wheel kind. What kid wouldn't want that? You get it, Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. All right, Sean Salisbury kicks off hour number 3 after SportsCenter.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouses.com, Rouses.com. Yo, Christmas is just about upon us. The holiday season is here. If you got that Christmas or holiday party, your work party, family coming over to the house, whatever you may need for your party, Rouse's is going to have it. And there's 70 Rouse's locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach and points in between. So maybe you need some great recipes. They've got those at Rouses.com. They got the taste of the holidays as well. Remember, if you are looking for any of your party trays, party platters, something that's easy, grab and go, bite size, the mini muffalettas, the fried catfish trays, the meat pies, they got all of those. Your sandwich trays, vegetable trays, fruit trays, your desserts, grab-and-go desserts are available, and your floral centerpieces in their floral department. They got everything for you at Rouse's. Rouses.com, Rouses.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.